That's pretty.
It's very pretty.
That's in clean.
Okay, now I guess I'm not gonna hear everything you say, but it'll cut down on background noise.
Where do I put it?
Anywhere you want. I'm gonna put mine right here. It's got a magnet if you want to like put the magnet inside your shirt.
Sure.
Get this thing straightened up and fixed. All right. That's about right. So,
We already have one on.
woohoo! Well, we're gonna wait a few minutes, not quite 10 o'clock, and I'm gonna refresh my coffee cup. Huh? The pot's empty? Okay, so I guess I'm gonna make a pot of coffee. Like none at all.
No.
You're sweet.
I thought you were done.
Let me borrow your,
Happy birthday. Good morning.
let me borrow your little microphone thing. I don't think it's on. There you go. Now you're on. Now people can hear you tell me that you drank the rest of the coffee.
Oh, no. I'm going to whisper because I talk loud by nature.
It's fine.
And
Trust
I don't
me.
want to blow their ears out.
You're fine.
Oh, hi from the UK.
Cool.
A lot of good mornings. Somebody said, good morning, sir.
Sir. So they've obviously never met me.
So they know that you're old.
That's messed up too.
I know it. I
Or
didn't
maybe
say
they're
it.
polite.
Huh?
Or maybe they're polite.
No.
No, that's not what it is.
No. I put a funny on my Facebook about your birthday.
All right, folks, we're just waiting a couple more minutes, get more people tuned in here, and we'll get started
Oh, we got Vermont.
on cows.
Is Vermont hot or chilly this time of year?
I mean, they have a pretty mild summer compared to us.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it chilly. They probably roll around with their windows down a lot more than we do, though.
Oh, man, to put on a sweater. I need sweater wetter.
Sweater wetter?
Sweater wetter.
Sweater wetter.
Sweater wetter.
Sweater
I need it so bad. Like this chunky girl needs.
Chunky girl, whatever.
I don't like sweat.
How many we got? Does it tell you?
Oh, I don't know. This is the first time we've ever done this way.
Yeah, so if you are watching, you're going to have to bear with us. I have never done a live over YouTube. This is new for us. And Janie and I haven't done a live video together in a really long time, period.
Because he fired me.
Nobody fired anybody.
Oh, 27. There's 27.
Woohoo, 27.
You fired me. Oh, Las Vegas. Y'all know I love me some Vegas. Mississippi. I want to go I want to go to Alabama. And I don't know why, but I want to be there. Vermont weather's a little crazy.
Greenbow, Alabama.
She said it's Vermont's chilly one day and then hot the next. But is it 102 hot?
We're excited this week. We have a cold front, and it's only supposed to be up to like 99 every day. And that's 92, shoot.
All right.
Yeah. Spray this down one more time. All right, guys. So welcome to our our very first YouTube live. I'm really hoping that we can save this video and like post it as a standard YouTube video, but I don't know. I don't know how YouTube works, so we'll find out. But today, I thought it'd be really fun to tool that right there. I posted an image of it on the Makers of Makers Leather Supply Facebook group. So, yeah, you can find that there. It is... it's a fun one. I love doing cartoons and stuff. This morning I came in, I thought about it last night. I was like, man, I hadn't like really tooled something fun like this in a long time. So I thought I better come in and do some practicing. So I did not get a chance to finish him, but there's the bull, the male cow, steer, maybe, who knows. Anyway, there is one of the cows that I got to tool up a little bit this morning. So I just thought I'd show y'all how I do this. I really love tooling cartoons and stuff like that. I've never been a huge fan of tooling a lot of floral stuff just because to me it's boring. I mean, I'm not trying to insult anybody that does it by any means because there's definitely an art to it, but I don't like doing the same flower over here and over here and over here and over here and over here. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm going to adjust the camera down to the desk here. I have already traced this onto the leather because that took me a good 45 minutes and y'all don't want to just sit here and watch me trace. Much like you don't want to just sit here and listen to me talk. So we're going to bring the camera down to the desk and start talking about it and working on it.
And just like that.
Just like that.
There you go. I guess I could have done that, but I didn't. 109 in Phoenix today. That's crazy.
Whew, that's pretty warm. All right. So here it is. Traced out. I'm hoping I'm staring at a very tiny screen, so I'm hoping what Janie sees is lines.
I mean, it's upside down, but that's
right. Yep, it is upside down.
But now your lines look really good.
The great thing about tooling is, though, the lines can be upside down because you're just tooling lines. You will put them together and turn them into cows, but you're just looking at individual lines. And I see a line I forgot to trace. I'm just hand drawing it in here.
I wasn't going to point it out.
Mm-hmm. So sweet.
That's what I do. It's your birthday. I mean, you're 50 today.
50. Come on now.
Great.
Come on now.
Girl.
50. All right. So the first thing of any tracing and tooling is that we need to do our swivel knife cuts. Okay. And the thing with a pattern like this is you're not going to swivel knife cut every single line. There's lots of lines on here that I'm going to bevel, but I'm not going to cut them with a swivel knife, just for a different effect, a different look, a softer line.
So can I ask you a question? How do you know? Like, y'all know I don't do leather work, but I have a question.
So when you look at this, you look at some of these lines, like like right here. This line where it's dark, I'll end up cutting that and beveling it, but I'll lightly cut it and bevel it because you're not trying to make that background stand way out like you are, the edge of the cow. But right here, where even the artist that drew this picture, which by the way, I don't know who drew this picture, it wasn't me. But right here, I'll bevel lightly without a cut, and it'll just have that softer appearance, much like the artist line does. So there'll be lots of areas where we want to do a little bit of shading, but we don't want a hard line of showing distance.
Okay, well, that makes a little more sense. See, I don't see things in 3D. I barely see 2D.
And without your glasses, you see no D.
Shut
but
up.
Anyway. All right. So as with any tooling, though, I always start with if this were a 3D image, I start with what's closest to me and work my way into the background. And the closest thing to me is this guy's nose. I mean, that is supposed to be sticking out of the picture here. Okay. So I'm going to swivel cut the major parts of his nostrils. Okay. And then just like how I'm not going to cut the entire line on some of that, I also want to fade my cuts in and out. I don't want to do a super deep cut all the way across that because, and I'll do the same with my beveling. There'll be areas where I bevel harder and areas where I bevel much softer. Okay. And then from there, I'm going to go just around the outside of his nose. Now up here, I'm going to very, very, very lightly cut that. But down here on the sides where there's more distance between that and the background, I'll cut it a little bit harder.
And that's just the pressure you're putting on
Just
there.
the amount of pressure I'm putting on the swivel knife. And what we're going to do on this video is I'm going to work on just one cow. The other cow, you'll use all the same principles and everything on, but to save time, I mean, this is a good 4-hour tooling probably if I do it the way I'd like to do it. And I know not everybody wants to sit here for 4 hours and listen to me talk.
No, we don't.
That was back in COVID days then.
Yeah.
In COVID, I could do lives all day and we'd still have a crowd because everybody's just sitting at home. All right.
And if they have questions, just like...
Yeah, if you've got something to ask or something to say, we'd love to hear it. That's why we're doing this live instead of just recording it. Now I'm going to cut out around his eyeballs, but that's the only line I'm going to cut right now near his eyes. The rest of that's all going to be just kind of shaded and stuff like that later. But I will cut out just around the whites of his eyes, I guess you could say. And the cool thing about doing a cartoon like this is there's nothing you can really mess up. You know, you're not trying to make this look like an alive cow. You're trying to make him look like a fun cow. All right.
See, I'm a stickler for eyeballs. Like if the eyeballs are messed up,
That is correct.
I can't handle it. It freaks me out.
It's like when I do skulls and stuff, the teeth. It's all about the teeth. If the teeth don't look good in 3D and all that, then sorry about your luck. It's not going to be super great. Okay, now I'm just going around his tongue here.
I had to get a blanket.
No, I got you. I thought you were going to shut the door, but then I looked and you did that too. So
Well,
they keep opening the warehouse door and stuff out there, and I can hear it. I don't know if you can or not.
no, I can hear it. But,
I was talking to the camera.
oh,
I know you could hear it.
oh. Well, I'm not sure this is going to work out.
Oh, it's going to work fine. All right, so now I'm doing the inside of his lip and then his teeth. He's got very jagged teeth, so that's nice. Is anybody saying anything?
Well, they're saying good morning, and then you have a fellow 1979 Virgo here, a few days younger, 29. I don't know how she, you wasn't born in 79 to be 50.
I was born in 79.
Don't take my phone away. So if y'all remember from doing the live chats, I'm horrible about pronouncing names. So when that happens and I mispronounce your name, I'm sorry. Pretty sorry.
All right, now I'm cutting around the outside of his lip and jaw here. And where it's over the background, I'm going to cut pretty much full force. I'll cut it nice and deep. But where it's just over other parts of the cow, I'm not going to cut as deep. Because once again, those are going to just kind of fade together in some areas. Okay. It really is all about looking at the depth of everything and deciding how hard do you want to tool that to give it the right perspectives that it needs.
So Blue Rose, this is funny, took your backpack class in Sheridan, and the friends saw it, and they were like, oh my God, I want one. And he was like, or she, I don't know, it's Blue Rose, said, oh, $700 to start with. Of course, that deterred them.
Yeah.
You do that, like you go real high when you don't, and because, they didn't have a good sewing machine, so they would have to do it by hand. So
Yep.
You go.
If I was hand sewing one, I don't think you could even pay me to do it. It's a lot of stitching. So yeah, when it comes to pricing, don't cheapen yourself to satisfy someone else. If they want good custom work, they'll pay for good custom work.
And if they don't, they're not your customer.
Exactly. It's always painful when it's a friend, but hey, sorry. You got a lot of time, effort, and leather into a project like that, and
Well, and you have a lot of training to do it.
yeah,
Like,
I mean,
you
just the
honed
idea
it
that you
in.
had to pay for the class, even, you know.
Well, yeah, and sit with Aaron.
Yeah,
If
I
you took
mean,
an Aaron class,
had to put up with me for a day. That's
makes
painful
my
too.
head hurt.
Now going around his ears here, I did not draw in a lot of the like stray hairs coming off his ear, because what we're going to do is after we do all of our tooling, then we're just going to go ahead and use a swivel knife to make those happen, and it'll just be way easier than trying to trace all those in and then cut them with a knife. Okay. All right, let's see here. The other ear. And I may go back with a swivel knife and cut some things that I haven't cut right now. And just as I get to them and kind of decide that that's what needed to happen. But I would rather not cut all those lines now and then find out that I need to go back and cut them up than to cut them and then realize that maybe I shouldn't have cut that line.
Yeah, because you can always go back and cut it.
You can always go back. You cannot go back and uncut it. All right, and I'm going to do his horns and his hair up here, and that'll be pretty much it for swivel cutting this guy. Now I am going to swivel cut the female cow's ear real quick because they overlap, and if I bevel down this one, I won't get a good chance to swivel cut it later. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right quick.
D, that's just what the name is, D, said, so cool. I really appreciate the live shows, as it is a great way beginning leather crafting. I'm subscribed and anxiously waiting, viewing your videos.
Awesome.
I'm sorry, D.
I try really hard to answer every single question or comment posted on our YouTube channel. So if you ever have a question during one of those videos, all you have to do is comment on it. And I'm usually pretty quick about it. The only time I don't answer them immediately is if I don't immediately know the answer, or maybe it's a specific question about a specific thing I did during a video that I need to go back and watch it just to make sure I know what I'm answering about. But even then, I mean, when I have time to sit down and do it, that's what I do. My absolute favorite part of my leather journey over the years has been teaching. I really enjoy it, and I like helping others figure out things that maybe they've been struggling with or whatever. And so, all right, so now I'm just doing all this crazy hair, and I'm just kind of doing the major cuts. We'll come back and like add hair as we go.
KBO Leather said the caption should read hoof-hearted. Hoof-hearted.
That's funny. I wish I'd left room at the bottom of the leather to put that now.
Isn't it like when that's that? Yeah. Alexis is hoping to catch a class at the shop. Yeah, well, we need to have a few more.
Yeah, honestly, people watch. September is a good month for us we're kind of open, but October and November, we're busy as can be. So I know it's kind of last minute, but I may be posting a class or two in the September timeframe. I'm waiting. We've got some visitors coming that don't have dates for us yet when they're going to be here, but as soon as they have dates, I'm going to post some classes around those dates.
Christopher says, what is your favorite project you've come up with lately?
Honestly, it's going to sound corny for me saying this, but I'm really digging the canteen purse just because it's the last thing I did. And I am one of those, like, what I love is how I can make something, I can come up with it and create it, whatever. I get to make a few of them. I do the videos on it. I show others how to do it. And then that's it. I don't ever have to make it again if I don't want to. And that keeps me from being bored. That was one thing I didn't enjoy about when I was doing custom work for a living, is that, you'd end up making the same thing over and over and over because, your customers would come in and be like, oh, I saw that holster you posted and I want one of those just like it. And I'm like, all right, well, we can do that again, I guess.
And then, wow, I live from Makers. Good morning, all. Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a really while. It's been a long time.
It's been years.
It's been years. That is correct. All right. I just took it off the desk for a second for me to lightly spray it with water and keep it getting damp. But there it is. There's all the swivel cutting that I'm going to do to this guy right there. Okay. Now we're going to start tooling him in the same manner that I cut him. I'm going to start with the nostrils and the mouth and all that stuff, and then work my way into the jawline and the lips and all that stuff. Okay. Now, what I have here is an assortment of bevelers. I am really, really a stickler for my bevelers. When people ask me all the time, they're like, oh, I want to buy some Barry King tools, and I don't know which ones to buy. I'm like, start with your bevelers. You're going to use them on every single tooling project you do, no matter what kind of project it is. So here I have 3 of my standard steep angle bevelers. Okay, those are at a 30-degree bevel. Okay, I don't even own any of the extra steep, which are at a 45-degree. We get a lot of people that call and want those, and I've never used them. Maybe if I had them, I would use them. I don't know. But I just, with the type of tooling I do, I hardly ever would need a tool like that. Okay. So I've got lots of those. I've got 3 different sizes of those, I guess I should say. And then I've got 2 of my matting bevelers, which are the low angle bevelers. Okay. Now, all of the tools I'm using today are checkered because I like checkered tools. Even though this is not going to be antiqued, normally that's the reason a lot of people like checkered tools, is because the antique sticks in the checkering. This will not be antiqued. I'll probably do another video when I paint it, if I paint it. Who knows? But anyway, I have 2 of the low angle bevelers. I may bring out a larger one for just outside around the cow. And then I've got some checkered matting tools here also. Okay, I've got a couple of smaller ones, a little oval shaped one, a little teardrop shaped one, and then a larger one here. And again, I may get an even larger one when it goes to doing background and stuff like that. Other than that, I have a little triangle beveler. And then this is actually another matting tool that's just teeny tiny to get into those tiny areas, like where his hair comes up into a tight V shape, stuff like that. And then I have a couple of checkered pear shaders here in case I need to do some shading. Now, that's what I know to get out of the box, but I've got 100 and so more tools back in that box that I may decide I want 1 or 2 more of them. So that's where we're starting. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with that nose, okay? And we're already going to start with the whole bevel really, really lightly on the outside of the line, or on the end of the line. And then as we get to the center of it, we're going to bevel a lot harder to show the depth in that nose and that nostril. The piece of leather I'm using is a piece of Herman oak. It is 6/7 ounce. So it's not super thick, but it is thick enough to get some real good depth without having to do any crazy tricks. Okay.
There's a lot of agreeing that, doing the same project twice is
boring.
Well, that and the consistency of it, and, it's not going to come out the same every time. It's kind of like when I do my rugs. And I don't do the same one twice.
Okay, now I traced basically where there would be a hole, the nasal capacity, I guess, where it would go up into there. And I didn't cut it, but I did trace it. So I'm going to kind of bevel that little circle as well. And there's what we're looking at with nostrils so far. Okay, now that was with my standard steep angle beveler. Now I'm going to go back with my my lighter angle one, and I'm just going to kind of show a little bit more depth. What this one does is it kind of gets rid of the halos left by the standard angle one. And really, I probably could just use this one instead of doing both, because I'm pretty much doing the exact same thing, going over the exact same line. But I've always really liked making my initial bevel with that first one and then coming back for this one.
Your maul, that's the Clay Miller, but what ounce is that?
This is an 18-ounce maul. And for some of the tooling today, it's going to be a little bit heavy. To be real honest, there's times I'll just push the tool and not even use a maul. But anyway, yeah, this one is a Clay Miller. I've had it for a long time, and I really, really do like it. For years, my standard tooling maul was 16 ounces, but then Clay made me one as a gift that was an 18 ounce, and I decided that, hey, I kind of like this.
Oh, thank you for loving my rugs. I'm actually trying to make the cow rug.
Yep.
We'll see how it looks.
This morning, Janie took the same image and traced it out to do the rug. So do a rug of it. So we'll see how it goes. She does a really good job of it. I may not let her sell it because it may end up in the shop. What?
What?
Huh?
Slim Shady.
All right. Now I'm going to go around the nose. Now, up here on the bridge of the nose, let me up here on the bridge of the nose, okay? That I don't want to bevel that really hard because then it'll look like a pig's nose, like it kind of went out and up and then, there was space behind it. If you think about a cow's nose, it just is almost flat going up from the top of the nose all the way up up to between his eyes there. Okay, there's not a lot of ridge. So I'm going to take and I'm going to bevel extremely lightly and then bevel harder as I get around the corners. And then out here where the nose is just over the background of the picture, I'm going to bevel pretty dang hard and get some real depth.
I'm curious, what ounce of leather do you got going on there?
6 to 7. Okay, and then as I get back over here where it's back over the bottom of the mouth and everything, I'm going to bevel just kind of moderately. It's not light, it's not heavy, just beveling.
That's what I be doing. I be beveling.
And then back over here, once again, I'll lighten up as I come back around to the top of the nose and then just totally fade it out right at the top.
Sometimes you still impress me.
Well, thanks, babe.
That nose is pretty dang impressive.
Okay. And then there's a little, on the drawing, there's like a little
crease.
Crease, thank you. That's a good word for it. And I'm just going to tool that in right quick, too.
We call that laugh wrinkles, but
there you go. He's a funny cow.
He's funny.
So there's what we're looking at right there. And again, I'm going to go back with my flat bevelers, my lower angle bevelers, and do some more with that. But first, I'm going to get into that mouth there and do some stuff there. Okay. Now, his tongue is sticking out of his mouth, but if I look at like these teeth right over here, they're kind of even with the top of the tongue where it goes into the mouth. When I did my practice one, I screwed up a little bit and I beveled those too far down, and it looks like his tongue's just setting on top of his mouth. Okay, so I'm going to try really hard not to even, I'm going to widen that and do some accent work in between the teeth and the tongue on this side, but not a lot of beveling. And then over here, I'll bevel the living crap out of it because there's a lot of distance between the tongue and the teeth. Okay.
The teethies.
Yeah. So I will bevel. I'm going to skip where those teeth are, or at least the backs of them there. And I'm going to start out beveling about halfway down the tongue, kind of lightly at first, and then getting heavier as it comes out the mouth.
So I said I want to make a bloodhound. Didn't you tooled Lucy?
I did. Yeah, I did a bloodhound video, but it was on our Facebook channel. And I know it's still there, but it's 7, 8 years ago. Like you'd have to really dig deep on the Maker's Leather Supply page, but it's there.
You really have to stock it hard.
Okay, and then there's this indentation that goes down the center of the tongue there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the middle of the tongue and work my way back, getting a little bit heavier as I go. And then when I get to the top of the tongue, bevel pretty good. Then I'll do the other side over here. And there's what we've got so far on the tongue. Okay, now this is one of the places that I will grab a pear shader, and I'm gonna kind of give that tongue a little bit of accent work as it goes down. Like that, just giving it a little bit of shading as it goes down. Okay, all right. Now I'm going to bevel down inside of his lip lightly because those teeth are in there. And then heavier where it just goes into the empty background of the mouth there. Okay, and then I need to bevel these teeth. All right, I'm going to grab me a smaller beveler, and I'm just going to individually go around the teeth, starting with the ones in the front and working my way to the back.
You may have already answered this, but how do you decide where to start beveling after cutting?
I start with what is closest to me as I'm looking at it as a 3D image. I always start with the areas that are the highest point in the 3D image.
I know I'm jumping ahead, but will you paint or dye this at the end?
Not in today's video, but I probably will. I may just make a regular YouTube video on it because I'm a very, very slow painter. I guarantee you it'll take me 6 to 8 hours to paint this guy. And so I'll make a video on it if I do it, but I still haven't decided if I'm going to. Now, I say that to say this. When I started doing leather work, I didn't really like paint and dye very much. I thought, man, I can show all that depth with my tooling and all that shading just with my tools. And, that to me showed more talent than painting, which granted, painting is its own art. I'm not taking away from that. Okay. But I thought as far as the art of tooling goes, I could probably do better with my tools than I could with paint. And anyway, in saying that, I taught myself really well how to do all this shading and everything with my bevelers and my matting tools and stuff like that. And to be real honest, all it did is put me further behind because as I got better with leather work and was doing more custom work and stuff, I had people that were wanting me to paint stuff. And well, I could paint a tool really well, but I couldn't paint very well. So yeah. All right, so I'm just kind of working it to where those teeth, once again, are kind of even with the tongue on this side, not on the other side. I'm using a Peter Main modeling spoon here. Sometimes when a bevel is too hard, you would just use a modeling spoon. And there we go. There we go. So there we have the tongue and the teeth. Now I'm going to use some of my matting tools and I'm going to shade in inside the mouth there. And then we can move on. Now, all of my matting and beveling tools were made by Clay Miller. Barry King has some very similar ones. They're a little bit different shapes, but the shape doesn't matter. What matters to me is the idea that they all have the exact same checkering on them, okay? If I'm going to do a lot of checkered backgrounds and stuff like that, I want to make sure that all of my tools have the same checkering. If you look over the years at like the Tandy tools and stuff, over the years, they were all made by different companies and different processes even. Sorry, I'm looking for a matting beveler here. Made by different companies and using different processes and stuff like that. And the checkering may not match on all of them. And to me, that's going to make it to where the piece looks kind of inconsistent.
Do you have a video on using crowners and lifters?
Nope. Well, yes, on lifters, yes. But I don't own any crowners. I've just never used them. They go around the petals of a flower.
Oh, okay.
But I've just never used them. I'm not saying there's not a place for them, but I don't use them. All right. Now that I got my backgrounder out too, I'll go ahead and hit up inside that nostril and flatten that out real nice so that you can tell it's all background. Now, he's laughing at us.
He's a laughing cow.
Yeah. Is anybody still watching?
No, they all ran away.
They all ran away already. That's got to be a record.
No. You cleared a room sooner.
We've done better. All right, so I keep touching my leather to make sure my moisture content is right. Basically, it looks like it's dry, but it still feels cold to the touch. When it doesn't still feel cold, then that's when I start to re-wet it a little bit with my spray bottle.
Why don't you show them what kind of spray bottle you have? Because, some people think it's just like a...
Yeah, and I mean, you can use any spray bottle, but these fine mist sprayers, I know Tandy sells them. I know you can get them at places that sell like hair care products and stuff. Amazon. But yeah, it's called a fine mist sprayer. And I like it because you're not going to accidentally get your piece of leather too wet. And then you don't have to sit there and wait for it to dry. So now I'm going around the outside of the lips and chin here with my standard beveler. Okay, and over the background, I'm going to bevel pretty hard, but then over the other parts of the cow, I'll lighten up a little bit.
Well, that one has upper teeth. The girl cow. You said your cows don't have upper teeth.
Yeah, the girl one does, but the boy one, yep, he either had a rough life where he didn't brush, or maybe he just has short teeth and his nose is covering them up. All right, so I went around the outside of the lip right there. And then right up here, I did it very, very lightly where it comes up and just kind of joins the nose so that once again, it doesn't just have a whole bunch of depth there. That's not an area. That's an area where the skin's barely folded back. And so now I'm going to go back and these little fat wrinkles, laugh wrinkles, whatever you want to call them, on the side of his cheek here, I'm very lightly beveling them back. And I'm using my steep angle beveler right now, but I may go back with my low angle beveler. I have not decided. A lot of the time, there's no definitive rule. It's just I'll do something and decide maybe I could have done more. And so I'll go back with another tool and do more.
Eugene says cows only have bottom teeth in real life. I'm Googling.
It's a joke. They have top teeth.
I know they do.
Then why are you having to Google it?
Because now he's got me second guessing my life.
All right, and then the same down here. This cow and I have a lot in common. We have several chins, but unfortunately, he does not get to have a beard to hide them.
They do not.
They don't have upper front teeth?
That's what this says.
What?
They have a dental pad, but no teeth.
Well, all right, then.
My life has, blown away.
It's been a lie. I thought cows had top teeth.
Points in our life, we've had cows all our life. I guess that's why they don't smile at you.
Yeah, that's why cows don't smile, honey. All right, so now I'm going down the sides of his neck here, and I'm beveling really hard where it's just over the background, but then I lighten up where it gets over another area of skin of the cow, and then I fade it out at the very bottom down there. don't know. I've been around a lot of cows, but I've never like worked cows, so I don't know anything about them.
I think they do maybe in the back, but not in the front. That's why they don't smile. That's why you can't tell if they're happy or not.
Okay.
Eugene, like, I can't anymore. Show's over.
All right, I'm gonna go back up here to the side of his cheek, and I'm gonna bevel this part where the laugh line's kind of over, and then I'm gonna bevel a lot harder as I get up here once again where it's just over the background of the leather. And I'll work my way down to the next line doing the same thing. Okay, and there's what we're looking at. It's really starting to come out, and he's starting to have some character to him. And we hadn't even gotten into the eyes and stuff. I normally wait a while for those until I'm good and warmed up because they're scary. All right, so here I'm just beveling the background around his shoulders and stuff. Like that.
Move it down just a little bit more. There you go.
There he is. All right, so now he's a laughing cow, but he can't see anything. So I guess we'll start working on those eyes. Okay, now I very, very, very lightly cut around the innards of his eye, but like where the eyelids and the eyeball would meet, okay? And please excuse my nomenclature and names. I don't know what a cow's eyelids and eyeballs would be called if there's something different than what mine would be called. I'm gonna go ahead and lightly spray this with water right quick. Not a lot, just a little bit, just to keep the surface wet. Okay, now I'm going to take, and this is my smallest checkered beveler here, and I am not going to hit it at all. I'm just going to put it in there against the eyelid and press the eyeball down. Okay, and yes, I could use a modeling spoon and do this, but since I'm using all checkered tools, the problem is when I get into using the modeling spoon, it leaves a shiny appearance compared to all the checkering. So I just don't do it that often. Again, and once I decide that maybe I will paint this guy, then it won't matter. But until then, here we go. Almost done with both eyes. I'm still laughing about that hoof-arted thing. Like, that's just genius. All right, now, I drew in all these little lines that go around his eyes, okay? There's just lots of little accent lines where, like, okay, here's the little puffy under eye thing that you can tell he doesn't sleep much. Same with the tops and everything. And I'm going to bevel those without cutting them, all right? So on the bottom here, I'm going to move up a beveler size. I don't like using my tiniest beveler for much light accent work because if I'm going to hit it with my maul, it's going to hit it too hard. A little bit larger beveler and it won't be as bad because there's more surface area to the tool and you won't accidentally go too deep with it.
Oh, we have Ireland here.
Oh, cool. So here I am just doing up underneath his eyeballs. And you can barely hear me tapping because I'm just barely tapping. Okay, and what I did there was that little line and that little line. Now I'm going to go above his eye and do the same thing.
You know, I may add the who farted.
On your rug?
Yes. Because that's just gold.
It is. That's hilarious.
You can't let gold just go away.
Can't waste it. Okay, and just tooling those couple of lines right there, and then underneath right there, it gives him a lot of expression that he didn't have before. All right. Now, on my practice one, I tried using some of my little round cedars to put his eyeballs in there, and they didn't look right. So we're going to try to hand cut them, and it probably still won't look right, but you know. So I'm just going back with my swivel knife. Cut out his, what's that? The iris is the big part, and then the pupil's the small part.
Why are you looking at me? I don't know. I have to Google that for you because I'm wrong about everything now.
Oh.
Well, the cows have really messed me up.
All right. I did the irises, but I think I'll still go back with my little, like a little tiny cedar and do the pupils just because I will. That's a very tight little circle.
So KBO Leather, the one that said, "Who parted?"
Yeah.
He used to work in the racing industry,
Uh-huh.
and the owner named his horse that.
Oh, that's funny.
And so they would all laugh because they were trying to pronounce it over the, speaker, but not be like offensive, I bet that was funny.
I was watching a reel on Facebook this morning talking about play on words and everything, and the news broadcaster was reading everybody's birthdays and was like, and a happy 10th birthday to Hugh Janus.
That would be me. I would say that.
And one of the other guys was like, I think you just got a joke played on you. And
Yeah.
they had a good laugh. I mean, they didn't get mad. They had a good laugh about it. So anyway.
Well, I'm real bad about wanting to play on words.
Yeah.
And the word I want to play on, I mix it up with the word I'm not. And so I made a new word and I just go with it.
All right. I'm going to go back with my my normal beveler here, and I'm going to bevel his hair. Okay, like the fuzzy, I don't know, almost palm tree type hair that he's got going on top of his head here. And normally as I go down doing this, I'll do one side of them all, then I'll flip it over and do the other side. That way I'm not constantly flipping it back and forth. It's one thing that stinks about beveling is I only am comfortable beveling one direction, and I generally have to turn the piece over 9 or 10 times to do all the beveling. Okay. And I'm going to go back with my low angle beveler and clean these up there in a few minutes. But I am not as accurate with my low angle beveler getting right up against that cut line. So that's one of the reasons that I do it twice. And then I'm going to get my tiny little triangle beveler out. And I'm going to use it to get right up there where two hair pieces come together and make it to where that's not just a mushed up mess. Okay. Now all I did was the hair that's kind of over his head and everything so that I can continue beveling his head, but I have to bevel that first so that I can bevel the lines and stuff into his face. So here's his, I don't know, high eyebrow lines, his laugh lines on the top of his head, I guess. About like so.
And just like that.
Just like that. Okay, so we're really getting somewhere with this guy. I'm pretty happy with how he's turning out so far. So.
And you did pretty good on the pupil iris thing.
Yeah, it turned out all right. I mean, luckily he looks crazy, so. All right, so this is my tiny little triangle beveler. And like I said, I'm going to take it and put it right up here where all those hair pieces kind of come together and give it a little hit. And that will keep that from getting too mushed up looking in those areas. About like that.
I'll probably stick to making my leather cactus, but I sure enjoy watching you. Maybe one day I'll be able to tool. There's these things like that are in front of the comments. Tool a line or something that looks like a line. Yeah, well, you should see my tooling. It's like grade A.
All right, I'm going into the ear here. I'm first going to tool that top line of the ear. And as you see, this is one of the few places that I did do the little wild hairs as well. And there's actually a figure carving tool. I may walk over to my other little tool rack right quick and grab one. But there is a figure carving tool that saves the purpose of where I was just doing that in between the hairs. I don't remember what the tool's called. Let me see if I can find it right quick. Shouldn't be too hard. There it is. So it is just a very, very, very narrow, it's like a triangle beveler, but it's extremely narrow. Okay, and the tool number on it is F902. And right here where the hair is in the ear, I'm going to use that just to show you. I mean, that sucker gets up in there nice and tight, even compared to my little triangle beveler that I use. And it's a little bit lower of an angle than my triangle beveler, so that helps. All right. So now, I don't have a line or anything, but I'm going to continue beveling around the bottom of the ear. And it gives it kind of a lip. About like that. If you're typing anything right now, Janie ran off to the restroom right quick, so she'll be back in just a moment. There's some inner ear type beveling here that I'm going to do. And then I'm going to use my triangle beveler to get just into that little bitty nook where you can tell that's where it goes into his ear canal, I guess, or his ear hole. I don't know. Once again, what to call it. I'm not an anatomy guy. All right. I kind of messed up my spacing on that one a little bit, so I'm going to bevel up to it. There we go. So there we go. There's what that ear looks like now. All right. Now, once again, I'm going to spray it just a little bit with water. And what I'm about to do is I'm going to take my, I'm going to bevel around the outsides of the ears and all that stuff right quick. Then I'm going to take my low angle beveler and I'm going to beat the tar out of this thing as it goes around all of his face and his shoulders and all that stuff. And we're going to get some serious depth. We're going to make this guy really stand up on the leather. Okay. First, I'm going to tool the second ear over here. The first time I posted a picture of this, somebody was like, oh, his ears are so uneven and this and that. And it's like, well, I mean, I see what you're saying, but this ear is like back. It's not as forward as the other ear, and that's why it has the angle and the weird looking shape that it does. Okay.